Gucci, 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 everything. Gucci, 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 headbang. Chanel, Gucci, Gucci, handbag. Let me Gucci right now. Emilio, Gucci, Gucci. I might get that Gucci. Yeah, I'll be fried, bro. And what up, though, gang? Top of the morning to y'all, man. You feel? This your boy Prince Rob back again with another reaction, man. You feel me? Man, today we're reacting to a crazy story that happened out of, the city where, well, I'm going to dox myself, but it is what it is, man. Where I stay at right now, you feel me, currently, where I grew up most of my life, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it was a crazy thing that happened on the news where a man pretty much, I'm sure you've seen it on social media. The man ran up and yeah, he how can I say it without YouTube flagging my page? He removed another man's head from his shoulders because of a situation. To be honest with you, when I read the story, it didn't make sense because the reason behind it don't even make sense, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna make the video long and need to be gang. Let's dive into this thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna do like the YouTubers do. It's your boy back again with another banger. We about to sign in, subscribe, tune in. No, I'm talking shit. Y'all know I don't give a fuck about. Hey, if you subscribe, you subscribe. If you don't, it's cool, gang. You know what I'm saying? And the ones who are subscribed, I appreciate you because we still at 29 subscribers. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how we rocking, gang.
This case takes place in the USA. In September of 2025, a case at a Dallas motel shocked the state and even drew international attention. What began as a mundane argument escalated into a horrifying event witnessed by onlookers and captured on CCTV. This is the case of Chandra Nagamalaya. Chandra was born on the 2nd of December 1974 in India. In India, Chandra was an entrepreneur. He ran a small hotel business in Bangalore, but sought better opportunities abroad. In 2018, he moved to the United States of America, joining a sibling who had established a hotel business there decades earlier. He settled in Dallas, Texas, with his wife and their son, who was born around 2007. By 2025, the family had made Dallas their home. In Dallas, Chandra worked hard as a manager at the Downtown Suites Motel in Old East Dallas. Friends and relatives affectionately nicknamed him Bob. He was widely described as a devoted husband, a loving father, and a kind soul. A close friend described him as a jolly person who was never angry, someone who would laugh off jokes and always avoid conflict. At the motel, Chandra was known to be hardworking, friendly, and embodied a gentle demeanor. He lived on site at the...
Yeah, we first and foremost, I'll be to cut it off, but we're going to start off by saying, man, RIP to Chandra. Bro seemed like a halfway decent person, bro. You feel me?
Motel with his family, his wife, and their 18-year-old son, Gaurav. Wednesday the 10th of September 2025 began like any other day in the motel. It was the morning, and the staff were going about their daily routines. Shortly after 8 a.m., Chandra was working alongside two of his employees. One of them was a female housekeeper, and the other was Jordanis Cobos Martinez. Jordanis was cleaning one of the ground floor motel rooms, room 108. Chandra's wife was in the front office, and his 18-year-old son was nearby on the property. What happened over the next 20 to 30 minutes would turn this ordinary morning into a scene of pure horror.
This game
must not be that good if you stop in my video to tell me about it. If it was that good, y'all would already be doing numbers.
Inside room 108, an argument erupted over a broken washing machine. Chandra instructed Jordanis not to use the washer at the motel. However, there was a language barrier. Chandra didn't speak Spanish, and Jordanis didn't speak English. When Chandra asked the other employee to translate his instructions to Jordanis, he took offense. Jordanis became angry that Chandra spoke to the other employee instead of addressing him directly. He felt disrespected by the need of a translator. This other co-worker...
My dog. You mad because a man needed a translator to explain to you like what's going on, bro? Like, bro, if I'm speaking Mandarin, I was about to say Chinese because Chinese is not a language. Mandarin or Cantonese. If I'm in another country, right, where they speak a different language, I speak multiple languages. You know what I'm saying? Your boy is not bilingual, but multilingual. You feel me? But if I'm in another country and I don't understand the language, I need a translator, bro. It's just human sense, common sense. You know what I mean? Like, how could you be mad somebody is using somebody else to translate or articulate what they're trying to explain to you? And especially, it wasn't like he said you can't use the machine. The man is just telling you, hey, it's broken down, bro. Don't use it until we fix it. And that you could tell from this man's eyes, this man been through some shit in life. And when I mean been through some shit, he probably lived a crazy life, bro. You could tell from his eye. Like, you know what they say about people, bro? You could tell a lot from the eyes, because the eyes are the keys to the human soul. You feel me? Not only that, your eyes are literally attached to your brain. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when like coming up, bro, like growing up, my dad always said, man, when you talk to somebody, you look them in the eyes. You feel me? That way y'all understand each other. That way you know what type of person they are. You can tell what type of person someone is by just looking into their eyes. You know what I mean?
He later told the police that this translation issue triggered him. Jordanis was upset, and he exchanged heated words with Chandra as tempers flared. But then, Jordanis abruptly stormed out of the room in anger. However, this wasn't the end of the heated argument. In fact, it had just begun. Jordanis returned to the room moments later, only this time armed with a large machete, and what followed was a sudden explosion of violence. According to investigators, Jordanis began attacking Chandra with a machete without warning. He swung the blade repeatedly, hacking at Chandra multiple times. Chandra was stabbed and slashed. He suffered terrible wounds, but he was still alive. After being slashed, Chandra managed to get away and he ran for his life, screaming for help. He bolted out of room 108 and sprinted across the parking lot towards the motel's main office, which was where his family was. A security camera captured him yelling and running, with Jordanis chasing close.
Bro, if you haven't seen the clip, bro, that's probably one of the most disturbing clips you'll ever see in your life, bro. You feel me? Now, I'm going to be very honest with you, bro. Like, I got a pretty strong stomach compared to most people, right? Like, most of y'all probably ain't seen a lot of my videos, but I'm gonna preface that by saying this. I was born in Africa, right? And we're introduced to violence at a very young age where I come from, you know what I'm saying? And it's one of those situations where I've seen people, similar situation, get, you know what I mean, pretty much body parts removed from a young age, bro. I think the first time I ever seen a man get decapitated was like, man, I was probably like 6 or 7, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because where I come from, bro, it's a lot of like tribal shit, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be cool. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, where I'm from, it ain't like just a war zone. Well, all the time, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, everybody be chilling. But during election times, a lot of the tribes always have disagreements. And if one tribe holds the main political party, instead of pretty much just, you know what I mean, having a debate or having a discussion, people resort to violence. You know what I'm saying? So I still remember to this day, one of like I said, the first time I ever seen a man get decapitated was one of my our neighbors. I was probably like 6 or 7. My older cousin was probably like, man, 12 or something like that, 11, 12 years old, because she's a little bit older than me. And at that time, my baby sister was also born as well. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they both my sisters, but, you know, I'm just trying to explain the story. And so the main party, whatever, lost. And when they lost, so a lot of their men pretty much did the same thing that's happening in America right now. Fake news, we need to recount the votes, somebody's cheating, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, right? Pretty much like the riot they just had at the Capitol. So these men decided that since they lost or didn't like the outcome of the election, that they were going to go around the city and find every male that was over 18 that could vote from the other tribe, and they were going to unalive them. If you know what I mean, try not to get flagged by YouTube, but use your imagination, right? So we had a neighbor that had like a little bodega, you know what I mean, where he would sell goods and stuff right next door to our house, like our house. Pretty much I had a bunk bed. I slept on the bottom, you know what I'm saying? I slept at the top. My big sister, she at the bottom, you feel me, in the living room or whatever. And so our window pretty much looked out into the street or into his bodega. Like you can open the window and see his bodega, right? And pretty much that night, whenever my moms came home, my aunt was there too. Pretty much they all said, hey, we're not gonna leave out, whatever. And again, my little sister was just born. She's a newborn, bro. Like I'm talking about newborn, you know what I mean? So pretty much at night, mom's auntie cut off all the lights. Man, they pretty much like, man, put stuff in front of the door. You know what I mean? We also had like a maid as well. They helped each other, pretty much a house full of women. They all helped each other like bar the doors, man. They moved like the dressers, everything in front of the doors, and they like, hey, we're gonna cut off all the lights and everybody just be quiet, And pretty much like, man, that night you can literally just hear screams from door to door to door to door, man. You know what I mean? Like you literally hear people screaming, women crying, men crying, you know what I'm saying? And so these men were literally going around knocking door to door and looking at your ID. If you were over 18 and from the opposite tribe, they would literally drag you out into the street and do some crazy things to you. And literally, of course, my mom is telling me, hey, stay away from the window, whatever, just stay in bed, just be quiet. And man, shout out to God. Well, again, my little sister is a newborn baby. My little sister did not cry that night. I'm talking about you hear bullets flying, people crying, all types of crazy noises. Baby girl didn't make a sound that night. We were all just quiet in the room. And so me and my older cousin, my sister, my older sister, we made the mistake of looking out, you know what I mean, whenever we'd hear the screaming. And literally we saw our next door neighbor who owned a bodega get dragged out into the street, and he's begging, pleading. His family is there begging and pleading. His kids begging and pleading. They held that man down and literally started hacking into him and removed arms, legs, head, everything. You know what I'm saying? My older sister, when she saw that, she turned her face and just started throwing up right then and there, which is, of course, you could say that's normal for an 11-year-old or 10-year-old or 12-year-old to see that and just throw up, and get sick to the stomach. That's not something most people will see and be okay with, you know what I mean? And literally, I can even remember, man, the next day when we went out, you know what I mean? Of course, you see like, you see the wreck, the aftermath of all the chaos. His shop was destroyed. They stole his stuff, and literally where they held him down and did those crazy things to him, like it's sand, right? Because we don't really have streets like that, like paved streets in Africa. But you could see the ground literally soaked with blood, bro. You know what I mean? Like literally soaked with blood, bro. And matter of fact, our other next door neighbor, bro, like they lived across from us. Their son was like 16 or 17. But when they came in and kicked in their door to see whatever males that are there, they didn't believe whatever, you know what I mean? Because they were like, hey, he doesn't have an ID, he's underage. But they're like, no, we don't care. He looks old enough to where he could vote or he could be of fighting age. So literally they opened his stomach, and then they let his mom and his pops hold everything that fell out until he died. You feel me? Then after that, they actually moved from there. And of course, I understand why they would move from there, because, man, how can you live in a house where those memories are there every day? You know what I mean? And yeah, and actually the craziest part is, years later, we actually ended up moving into that same house, man. So yeah, bro, I say that to say, man, We live in a crazy world, bro. You feel me? Like, we live in a crazy world, and even in the story, if you've seen the actual film, I doubt he's gonna show the full video, but Chandra, I hope I'm saying his name right, comes running around the car, gets in front of one of the motel rooms, and he's pretty much begging for his life and screaming, and the guy runs up and hacks him down. You see on the side his wife and his son literally sitting there watching, screaming, and begging as this man removed his head from his body. You know what I'm saying? Which is tragic to me, because it's like, as people, bro, if we're going to call ourselves civilized, man, we have to find better ways to deal with conflict and disagreements, you know? I don't think everything needs to go to violence, you know what I'm saying? Especially that level of violence, you know? But, man, I ain't gonna, you know?
Was behind, machete in hand. Chandra's single goal was to reach his wife and son to warn them and seek refuge. Someone who was staying at the motel watched in horror. They said, he chased him from 108 all the way to the office. Chandra was trying to get to the office to tell his family to run. Chandra got as far as he could, but the attacker was determined. In the span of seconds, Jordanis caught up with him just outside of the front office. Due to hearing the commotion, Chandra's wife and son emerged from the office only to be confronted with a total nightmare. They saw Jordanis attacking Chandra with the blade again. Both wife and son tried to intervene, desperately attempting to pull him away, but there was nothing they could do. Chandra's wife screamed, and his son grappled with Jordanis, but he was in a frenzied state, and he just shoved them aside forcibly, and then proceeded to hack at Chandra. An onlooker saw what was happening. He went over to Chandra's wife and...
In this type of situation, this is why, I'm not gonna lie to you, I love Texas, and I support the right to bear arms, bro. You feel me? I think every single human being deserves the right to be able to defend themselves. Like I said, this is Texas, so we're not only just a conservative state, but a two-way state. So, you know what I mean? Second Amendment is big here. I always tell people, like, bro, there's probably more guns in the state of Texas than there are people in the United States. You know what I'm saying? I wish somebody at that motel had a gun and gunned them down. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wish the manager had a gun that he concealed for his protection, and when that man was trying to hack him down, he gunned him down, bro. I wish want somebody, man. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, that's just evil, bro. Like, how does a man tell you hey, you can't use the washing machine, and your response is to hack them down? Like, bro, what's going on in your head for that to even make sense, bro? You know what I mean?
son and pulled them away, urging them to retreat. Jordanis showed absolutely no mercy. He repeatedly and violently swung the machete at Chandra even as he lay in the parking lot unconscious. Amid the attack, Jordanis paused at one point to go through Chandra's pockets. He pulled out his mobile phone and his lanyard with his keycards to the motel rooms. This momentary pause, however, was only preceded with greater brutality.
That's just sad, boy.
Jordanis then resumed hacking at Chandra with the blade, but then he grabbed his head and began hacking through his neck. He did this until Chandra's head was removed from his body. By around 8:30 a.m., Chandra was dead, his body mutilated on the ground, but the attacker's actions grew even more gruesome. With the blooded machete in one hand and Chandra's head in the other, Jordanis stood momentarily. He then placed Chandra's head on the ground and kicked the severed head twice across the parking lot. As one witness later said, he kicked his head.
He literally, like, if you see the whole video, he kicks it across the parking lot, and what he's blurring out is him walking with his head
like a soccer ball. But it didn't even end here. Jordanis calmly picked up the head off the ground and walked towards a nearby dumpster on the motel property. He then tossed Chandra's head into the trash. All of this happened in broad daylight before the emergency services could arrive. The entire attack transpired in just minutes. Surveillance footage captured many of these moments in stark detail. Chandra's wife and son were left horrified and deeply traumatized. One can only imagine the horror and adrenaline coursing through onlookers as they struggled to process what was happening. As all of this unfolded, many of the witnesses began calling 911 to report what was happening. At 8:31 a.m., mere minutes after the beheading, the first emergency responders arrived. An ambulance crew pulled up at the motel, responding to reports of a stabbing in process. Paramedics, however, are not trained to enter an active danger scene. They stopped at a safe distance when they saw the situation. Jordanis was still on the premises, covered in blood, wielding the machete, and walking away from the gruesome scene. The paramedics discreetly followed him from a distance in their vehicle. Dallas police units converged the area within minutes. At approximately 8:35, officers located Jordanis about a block away from the motel, and they moved in to arrest him. He didn't get too far. He was still near the property, and he made no concerted effort to hide or flee quickly. The police reported that when they apprehended him, he was still holding the bloody machete and had Chandra's cell phone on him. His entire body was soaked with blood, grim evidence linking him unmistakably to the crime. Officers took him into custody without any further incident. There was no report of resistance during his arrest. So by now you're probably wondering, who was this man, and what could drive someone to do this? Jordanis was born in March of 1988 in Cuba. At some point he left Cuba and entered the United States illegally, eventually residing in Texas. And by 2025, he was working as a maintenance or cleaning staff member at the Dallas motel where Chandra was a manager. However, behind this unassuming role as a motel handyman was a long and violent criminal history across multiple states. Over the 8 years preceding the murder, he had been arrested.
So I didn't know that he worked at the motel as well. That lets me know that this wasn't their first altercation, right? Now, of course, I'm not here to defend dude or side with him or any of that. What he did is heinous, man. Like, that's beyond inexcusable, man, you know? But that lets me know that they definitely had prior altercations that led to this situation, you know what I mean?
Arrested and charged in Florida, California, and Texas. In 2017 Florida, he was arrested and charged with felony grand theft auto for allegedly stealing a Mercedes-Benz. Later that year in California, he was arrested for an attempted carjacking incident. According to police reports, he was completely naked at the time, tried to drag a woman from her car, climbed in with her, and assaulted her.
Jesus Christ, bro. Like, my God, you made it to America to terrorize people, man. Like, people like that give immigrants a bad name, because a situation like that is where people are going to go see. That's why we don't want any immigrants here. Woo, 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 you know what I'm saying? And of course, this is, I want to say it's an isolated incident, bro, because again, I immigrated here at a young age, bro. I came to America when I was like in the 3rd grade, bro. Second grade going into the 3rd grade, bro. You know what I'm saying? Most immigrants I've ran into in life are just happy to be in America, bro. Happy for the opportunity to be in the land of opportunity, you know? They're happy to be able to have a better life, a better opportunity for those they love, you know what I mean? Bro, it gives a bad name to people who are looking for a better life, man. Like, you left Cuba. I ain't gonna say Cuba's a terrible place to live, but anybody who knows the history of Cuba with Fidel Castro and pretty much, you know, the what you call it, the socialist movement or whatever, I should say socialist. It's not socialist, communist movement, understands that is a very oppressive regime. A lot of people escaped Cuba. Like, a lot of people, man, literally got on boats, not even boats, like rafts, just to make it to America, man. You know, just to give their children a better opportunity in life, a better opportunity of being something else. Because the truth is, bro, like in third world countries, you can be very talented. You can have all the talent in the world. But at the end of the day, whether you make it or not, all depends on who you know. Now, of course, the same can be said about America. But the one thing about America, bro, it gives you the opportunity to be self-made. If you come to this country and you're willing to put in the work, do the right things, and you have an opportunity to be better, man. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, bro. The dude must have had mental problems. I don't know what he was doing in Cuba, whatever he was a part of. But for one, this lets me know this is not the first time he's ever done that to somebody else, because you don't just wake up and start hacking other people, you know what I mean, willy-nilly, as they say, you know? So, I don't know, bro. Bro, give a bad name to people looking for better opportunities in life.
In 2018 in Texas, he was arrested and charged with indecency with a child. And whilst awaiting trial, he punched...
Jesus Christ. Hey, man, the system low-key failed in that aspect, bro. If you out here with charges like that where they said he hijacked a woman's car naked and exposed himself to a child, bro, with those type of charges, bro, they're supposed to been got dude out of there.
A jailer in the jaw. In 2023 in California, he was arrested for a 2017 carjacking and false imprisonment. In August of 2023, a Californian judge granted him probation on the false imprisonment conviction.
I think somebody just knocked on my door. Hold on. I'm going to pause the video. My fault, gang. I thought somebody knocked at the door, man.
In late 2023, he was arrested in Texas on a fugitive warrant and turned over to the US Immigration and Customs Enforcement. With his extensive criminal record, an immigration judge had already ordered him to be removed and deported back to Cuba. However, Cuba refused to accept him due to his criminal history, effectively stranding him in US custody. Under US law, if an immigrant's home country will not issue travel documents, then ICE must eventually release the person under supervision. Thus, on the 13th of January 2025, ICE released Jordanis from detention on an order of supervision.
They need to change that. They need to change that, bro. That rule, they need to change. Like, I'm an advocate for immigration. You know what I'm saying? I'm an advocate for people having better opportunities in life. But somebody like that is not looking for a better life. Somebody like that is not looking for, you know, you came to this country to expose yourself to children. You came to this country to assault women, assault people, man. You give everybody else who came to this country looking for a better opportunity a bad name, my guy. Like, if they need to figure out a way where, man, if they don't want you, we're going to send you somewhere else. Because clearly you don't know how to live in society with other human beings. If you don't know how to live in society with other human beings, man, I think I speak for everybody else, and I think I speak for the immigrant community. Like, bro, not only are you giving the rest of us a bad name, because guess what? Now everybody's looking at anybody who immigrated here as, oh, this person's just here to harm us, you know? And I promise you that is not true. You talk to most immigrants, man, most immigrants are some of those most hardworking people you'll ever meet. Real talk. I don't care if they come from South America, they come from Africa, they come from China. Even Chandra, he immigrated from India, right? When he immigrated here, man, the guy got a job. He worked his way up. He's working at the motel. He's doing everything right in life, you know? I'm sure if you look at his record, he doesn't have a record, you know? So like I said, he gives good people a bad name, bro.
He walked free into the US populace, albeit with check-ins required. By September of 2025, Jordanis was living in Dallas and working at the motel. Despite his alarming past, Jordanis had managed to avoid permanent incarceration or removal. Following his arrest, he was described by officials as a barbaric criminal with an extensive rap sheet.
Man.
It was against this backdrop that the events of September the 10th, 2025 unfolded. Back at the motel, investigators and crime scene personnel began processing the horrific scene. They found Chandra's decapitated remains in the parking lot and discovered his...
So my question is this. So now that they already know that Cuba doesn't want him back, right? And they know the last time that he did all these crazy things, they released him. What's the next steps? I'm sure they're gonna, because for one, Texas has a death penalty, bro. Texas has a death penalty, bro. In the state of Texas, if you harm somebody, if you kill somebody, the state of Texas will kill you. And to be honest with you, I'm not gonna say I agree with the death penalty completely, but I don't disagree with it completely. Because someone like that, no offense, I don't want the rest of society taking care of him for the rest of his life in prison. That's just me personally. I might be wrong. Again, I don't advocate harming people or killing people, and I'm sure there's people who are put on death row who probably might not have done it. You know what I'm saying? I understand that completely. Me of all people understand the system a lot, bro. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, bro. Part of the reason why I started this channel is to, try to guide those other people from not making similar mistakes, you know? Yeah, man, I don't know, bro. In this situation, bro, I don't know. The system kind of failed us, bro.
Head from the dumpster where the killer had thrown it. Even for very, very seasoned detectives, the brutality was shocking.
Man.
The level of violence employed left everyone deeply disturbed. During the police interrogation, Jordanis admitted to the crime almost immediately when speaking with a detective. Now, with the confession, the CCTV, and the witnesses, there was literally no doubt that he was responsible for the murder, but the police still needed a motive. Why did he do this? The answer was incredibly trivial. From his admission and the witness accounts, it appears that the motive was Jordanis becoming enraged over a perceived slight in communication, not being spoken to directly and being spoken to through a translator, and because of this, he exploded in uncontrollable violence.
Introducing the only prescription hair regrowth gummy on the market, the Minoxidil Plus Biotin Gummy by Hers.
L commercial. YouTube, you be doing too much, bro. L commercial.
There is no indication of premeditation or a personal vendetta beyond that morning dispute. Rather, instead, it seems to be a case of sudden, uncontrolled rage, turning incredibly lethal. By late morning on the 10th of September, the Dallas police had formally charged Jordanis with capital murder for the killing of Chandra. In Texas, capital murder is reserved for the most serious homicide cases and allows prosecutors to seek the death penalty or life imprisonment without the possibility of parole if they are convicted. He was swiftly booked into the Dallas County Jail, and jail records showed that in addition to the capital murder charge, an immigration hold detainer was placed on him by ICE. This meant that even if he somehow made bail or was released, he would be transferred to federal custody. Of course, as you can imagine, no bail was granted in the immediate aftermath. The police investigation then began gathering some physical evidence. They collected blood evidence, fingerprints, and then the surveillance video footage. And what they caught was horrifying. Now, of course, for YouTube, I can't show the actual footage, and I'm not even sure if all of it has been made public. But it revealed everything. It shows the entire crime unfold. But most disturbingly, the cameras recorded Jordanis striking Chandra repeatedly until he was decapitated, and they even captured him kicking the severed head in the parking lot. All of that footage is out there somewhere. The police had every piece of possible evidence they needed. It's not every day that such a murder is captured on camera. To say the case is watertight would be an understatement. Within a day, the story of the Dallas decapitation made headlines around the world. However, it was somewhat overshadowed by the assassination of Charlie Kirk that day. So on this day, two of the most shocking cases in recent history were caught on camera. Jordanis's initial court appearance took place in the days following the arrest, and the charge of capital murder was formally read. Given the facts, experts noted that the case could meet the criteria for capital punishment, especially as it involved a murder committed during another felony, robbery. This is because he took Chandra's phone while he was killing him. And not only this, the murder has been categorized as outrageously cruel.
Man.
A defense has been assigned to represent him. Any mental health evaluations or other defense strategies have not been made public, but given the extreme violence, it's possible his lawyers might explore some competency or insanity defenses in the future.
Bro, that would be difficult, bro. Like, that has to be the most difficult thing for that public defender to do, to defend this man. Because how can you possibly defend a man like that? There's no way you could, like, that has to be one of the hardest jobs right there. And I'm sure part of him is like, man, I'm going to do the bare minimum, but we need to get this guy out of here. Because I think we all agree as a society, bro, and we do not need people like that in society, bro. Bro, if you cannot live around other people, right? If you don't know how to interact with other human beings in society, you don't know how to, deal with your whatever issues through talking, I don't think you need to live in society, man. Real talk. If you cannot control your emotions, if you don't know how to live around other human beings, you don't know how to interact with other human beings. Hey, man, this is the problem. Okay, man, what's going on? This and this is going on. Well, I don't like the way you said this to me. I don't like how you... If you don't understand how to do that, don't know how to do that, I think you lost your privilege to live in society with other human beings. Because I wouldn't want to live next to somebody like that. And I'm sure none of y'all would want to live next to somebody like that. You know what I mean? And again, not because he's an immigrant, whatever, because that's what the media is going to try to push out there, that look at this horrible immigrant. They were both immigrants. Chandra was a great immigrant. He's an example of the type of immigrant I want to be, somebody that come to this country, take the opportunities given, make society better, contributes to society, that I'm sure most immigrants are. Like, hey, we're in America to give ourselves a better life, give our families better lives, our children better lives, you know what I mean? That's the reason why we in this country, bro. That's the reason why we fought so hard to make it to this country, man. You know what I mean?
As of mid-December 2025, no such claims have been reported, as the case is still in its early stages. Just 3 days after the murder, Chandra's family held a funeral service in Texas. A beloved husband and father was gone, and the community was left grieving. In the aftermath, an online fundraiser was launched to assist the family with funeral costs, living expenses, and the son's future education. The GoFundMe campaign quickly surpassed its initial goal of $50,000. A link will be pinned in the comments and in the description. Publicly, the authorities have expressed determination to obtain justice. Trump has personally said this criminal will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, given the straightforward evidence.
I never thought I said this in my life, bro, but I agree with Donald Trump. With that statement right there, I agree with him. And I never thought I would say that.
Including video, eyewitness, and a confession, the trial, when it occurs, may focus more on punishment rather than proving guilt. It's also worth mentioning that due to his immigration status, any sentence will be served in the US, and he cannot be deported unless somehow released. The case of the Dallas decapitation is one of the most gruesome cases in that area in recent times, and the fact that it was caught on camera only adds to the horror. Many people are hoping for the death penalty. However, some have speculated that due to the nature of the crime, the defense could have the opportunity at an insanity defense.
Man, ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. I ain't trying to hear it, bro. Like, the only way insanity can be pleaded out in that situation is if this person had prior cases where he suffered with mental health. from the story and what I hear, dude was perfectly sane. He's just a psycho. Like, you're not going to tell me you're so insane to where you have to do that to another human being, but you're not insane to where you don't understand you need a place to live. You're not insane to where you understand you need food. You're not insane to where you understand you need employment. You know? I refuse to believe that, bro. And I think, man, they need to give him the death penalty, man. I think I agree with most people in society will tell you, bro, that man deserves a death penalty. Love it or hate it. If you disagree with it, cool, I get it, I understand. Bro, people like that cannot live in society with us. And someone like that should not be allowed to spend the rest of their life freely. Just imagine, bro. Our taxpayers' dollars are going to give him sustenance for the rest of his life. It's going to give him health care. He's going to get health care in prison. He's going to get food every single day in prison. He's going to get shelter. He's going to get entertainment. I refuse. I refuse to, you know what I mean? And I think most people agree with that, whether they're an immigrant or not. And I'm sure if you ask Chandra's immigrant family, they will refuse as well. Because I'm sure his wife and his son do not want to pay taxes knowing these taxes are going towards the man who decapitated their husband or their father, you know what I mean? Their uncle, you know what I mean? That's beyond absurd. Now, don't get me wrong, bro. I'm an advocate for prison reform. I'm not this hard, make America great, we need to punish everybody, bro, because I truly believe everybody deserves a second chance. But some people don't deserve a second chance. Because clearly dude got a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, I don't know how many chances, because this is not the first time he's done something like that, you know? Man, R.I.P. to Chandra. I hope his family finds a way to heal, but I know this is something that's going to traumatize his wife, his son, his family for forever, man. This is a pain that they're going to have to carry forever, man. You know what I mean? So my heart goes out to him, man. Man, this your boy Prince Raw, man. Ain't gonna make the video long, it needs to be. I'm out.
Either way, it's likely that Jordanis will never see the light of day again.